Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today I titled this message, Like Parent, Like Child. Like Parent, Like Child. Okay, in this message we're going to talk about abusive relationships. And the reason for this, once again, is because there is a connection to what you experienced as a child and why it is that you continue to accept emotional abuse in relationships, whether it is with a family member or whether it's with a partner. Okay, you may be quite young listening to this message, or you might be older listening to this message, but either way, this is for you because we want to stop folks getting themselves caught up in these relationships that are doing nothing more than bringing them down. There is no more excuse making, my friends. There's no more defending these toxic relationships. And they're not just on the home front. They are at the workplace. They're at the church. They are out there on the streets. They're in the different stores. They're along the sidewalks and so forth. And you're saying, what is going on with that couple over there? Or why is it that she's yelling like that? Or why is this man ready to hit her? Like parent, like child. The child grew up in an atmosphere where he or she was looking to be cared for. The child grew up in an atmosphere hoping that adults were going to do this, that, and the other for him or her. They were supposed to be meeting the child's needs. And so let's say the needs were met, but there was a problem. The examples that the child saw around him or her were poor examples. Yes, I got the latest and the best and the greatest of everything, but I saw two parents arguing, fussing, fighting, or I saw two parents not arguing, fussing, and fighting, but there was the silent treatment, there was the ignoring, there was the attitudes, there was the spiteful behavior. I'm going to pay him back because he was mistreating me or disrespecting me or he called me a name, okay? So children see this sort of stuff go on, and then they emulate the parents in their future relationships. And it really upsets us when we see this sort of thing show up. It can happen between two children where you see one child emotionally abusing the other child. That child is talking to the other, but the child is ignoring. The one that is the perpetrator is ignoring the other one. I'm just talking to you. I'm not even saying anything bad. I don't care. I don't want to hear from you. Shut up. What? Or, who are you? You're not my brother. I don't like you. I hate you. What? You're a stupid idiot. You make me angry. I don't want you coming around. What? Right? Shoving, kicking, pushing, soon to follow. Spitting, name calling, soon to follow, right? More stuff, more drama. So we see this with children, but do we see it with adults? Do we see it with adults? Do we see it when the son is over at mom's house and he goes off on his girlfriend right in front of mom? Do we see it when cousin so-and-so is once again telling his wife to get up and go make him this and make him that? Do we see it when the father is disrespecting the daughter in front of all of the uncles? Do we see it when we see the mother is cursing at her father-in-law? Do we see it when the grandparents are at war with one another, but it's a silent war? Years of putting up with his mess, and I'll be that I put up with it again. Okay? And so the children watch all of this. They see this and they say, well, it looks all right here. I guess it's all right for me to do it. One particular website I came across is called eqi.org/abuse1.htm. Hashtag, what is emotional abuse? There's a lot of links and descriptions and so forth. But one thing I came across was under the header, Understanding Abusive Relationships, and I'm going to read it from the site. No one intends to be in an abusive relationship, but individuals who were verbally abused by a parent or other significant person often find themselves in similar situations as an adult. If a parent tended to define your experiences and emotions and judge your behaviors, you may not have learned how to set your own standards, develop your own viewpoints, and validate your own feeling and perceptions. Consequently, the controlling and defining stance taken by an emotional abuser may feel familiar, listen up, may feel familiar or even comfortable to you, although it is destructive. Okay? This is why people end up in abusive relationships. It didn't start that way. It never starts that way, most often. I never say never, right? Because some folks, they've been in abusive relationships right off the back and then they just dismiss it and continue on. That's pretty sad that you will be with someone, first meeting, first encounter, first date, they disrespect you and you go ahead on and continue to date them. But okay, so never say never. All right. It was familiar when he said what he did. Oh, my dad, I can take it. My dad said this. My dad said that. I don't want it. The healthy, functional adult says, I don't want it. I don't want to be on a date with that person. Why? Because he says a lot of mean things. Oh, come on. I have a tougher skin. No, I don't want a tougher skin. I don't want you teasing me. Some people think teasing is okay. Teasing is not okay. It's not okay. If you are a counselor, if you are a leader, if you are in some type of position of authority, it's not okay. If you're a parent, okay? If you are the elder, it's not okay. People like to use little holiday celebrations, family gatherings, meetings, and so forth to start nitpicking on some folks. It's not okay. You want to look like you're laid back, you're, the type that, is cool and all that. That's not okay. I'm sorry, but I grew up in an atmosphere where folks like to do what you call ripping, right? Or digs. Some folks will call it dozens, or others would call it roasting. That's not cool. That's not cool, because what happens is slowly but surely it tears away your self-esteem. Slowly but surely it makes you feel uncomfortable around others. Then you start feeling like you're in a box where you can't speak up and say, I don't like this. I don't want you saying these sorts of things, because what? Some folks around you will say you need to have a tougher skin. Okay. Don't worry about it. I can take it. No, you shouldn't be doing it, period. Even if you can take it. We can all take a lot of stuff, because guess what? We've been in abusive relationships. But just because I can take it don't mean that it's acceptable, doesn't mean that it's right, and doesn't mean that I want to hear it. I don't want to hear you telling me that, oh, yeah, you're this and you're that. Guess what? You're not going to be in my circle. Guess what? I'm not going to approve that comment. I don't need to put up with it, and I don't have to. My father didn't put me on this planet for me to be anybody's verbal punching bag or anybody's butt of the joke. Oh, you take things too seriously. No, there's things that we can all joke about behind closed doors with a friend or foe or whatever, if that's what you choose. But to be out there fighting a good fight in front of a room full of folks, we don't know who's hurting at the table, and be teasing folks, that's not cool. That's not good. But like I said, folks will accept relationships like this because it is familiar, right? Recipients of abuse, according to the site, often struggle with feelings of powerlessness, hurt, fear, and anger. Ironically, abusers tend to struggle with these same feelings. So the very thing that they're putting on you, they're dealing with. They got some issues of feeling hurt. They've got some issues of feeling fearful and anger and angry and all this other stuff, and powerless in their personal relationships. Some of these folks feel powerless in their personal relationships with spouses. So that's why they don't mind talking about you in front of everybody else. They don't have any type of power going on the home front. They can't speak up. Sometimes their partner is up there teasing them, bothering them. So they feel like, okay, well, I don't want to keep going on and on and on with my partner, so I'll do it to somebody else until you come across the wrong one. Abuser abusers are also likely to have been raised in emotionally abusive environments, and they learn to be abusive as a way to cope with their own feelings of powerlessness, hurt, fear, and anger. So as a child, right, that child felt powerless. I saw all this foolishness going on around me. I couldn't say nothing. I had to stay in the child's place. I couldn't go over there and defend this one and defend that one. I couldn't defend myself. I was told not to say this, not to say that, take it. What? So now you go into a relationship and then you feel the same way. I feel hurt. I feel fear. I feel anger. I feel like I'm powerless, but I'm not being validated in this relationship. This person isn't doing anything to change their behavior. I got to move on, right? Consequently, abusers may be attracted to people who see themselves as helpless or who have not learned to value their own feelings, perceptions, or viewpoints. This allows the abuser to feel more secure and in control and avoid dealing with their own feelings and self-perceptions. So when you ask your child, why is it that you're with this controlling person? Why is it that you're with this emotionally abusive person? Why is it that you choose to date older and all these people that you get yourself involved with? They're controlling. Why do you do this? You need to look at yourself, parent, and you need to look at what kind of example you set before that child. Like daughter, like mother, like daughter. What? Who's learning off of who? The daughter? Is the mother learning off the daughter? No, most likely she's not. The daughter is learning off the mother. So if she sees that the father, her mother's husband, is controlling, who's difficult, who tends to have a lot of names that he calls folks, right? She may not have any problem being involved with somebody that's like her father. But then after a while, as she matures, as she grows in the faith, as she learns more, she realizes, I don't want to be in this relationship. This relationship is dysfunctional. This person is emotionally abusive. I don't want to be called names. I don't want to be disrespected. I don't want to feel like I don't have any type of power, any type of control over my being, over who I am. I don't like to feel hurt. I don't like to feel fear. I'm walking around here on eggshells. I'm worried that he's going to do something to me. I don't want to feel this. I'm tired of feeling angry. Just because he's angry don't mean I need to be angry. Just because I saw that my father was angry about a lot of stuff, I don't need to be with somebody that's like that. And so she moves on. She gets a divorce or she breaks up or whatever. Same thing goes with the men. That have grown up in atmospheres like this where daddy was this way or mama was that way. Family members were very dysfunctional. They get sick of these sorts of things. Going back to the site, emotional abuse victims can become so convinced that they are worthless that they believe that no one else could want them. And some people are in these relationships where the woman said, oh, no, don't nobody want you. Right? So they stay in abusive situations because they believe they have nowhere else to go. Their ultimate fear is being all alone, right? That's sad, but so true. But let me tell you, God says the freedom is in being alone. The freedom is in being able to do what you want, when you want, how you want it, of course, according to the will of God, right? Because you're a believer. You don't want to do something that's out of pocket, that's going to put you back in an abusive situation. So many believers get free, but then they get right back into emotionally abusive relationships again because they never did seek the necessary counsel. They never did look at where they made some errors being with the wrong person. Okay, from the start, being with someone who reminded them of their emotionally abusive father or emotionally abusive mother or both. So they repeat the same mistakes. Maybe you got up out of the physically abusive relationship, but then you found yourself right involved with somebody who is ignoring you, who is disrespectful, who is arrogant, who is just like somebody that you grew up with as a child. Okay? Understand the pattern of your relationships, okay? Specifically with your family members, your friends, your loved ones, and so forth. Going back to the site, a lack of clarity about who you are in relationship to significant others may manifest itself in different ways. For example, you may act as an abuser in some instances and as a recipient in others. It happens, right? You saw your mother, your father, somebody else in the family who 1 minute they were acting like a victim. Next minute, they're acting like an abusive person. And they may be, they may have exhibited all of that abuse upon you because they felt powerless with the partner, but then felt empowered abusing you. How twisted is that? But it happens. Going back to the site, you may find that you tend to be abused in your romantic relationships, allowing your partners to define and control you. In friendships, however, you may play the role of abuser by withholding, manipulating, trying to so-called help others, right? Codependent. Knowing yourself and understanding your past can prevent abuse from being recreated in your life. So know thyself, right? Know what is going on with you. First and foremost. Then once you start knowing some stuff that's going on with you, then you start looking at what happened back in the day and how it's impacting you now and why you made the decisions that you made and why you got to get rid of some folk. Okay? And I am a strong believer that if I made a mistake, I'm going to fix it. You best believe that. If I know that I have messed up, and I have attracted the wrong people into my life as a result of some stuff that I experienced back in the day, you best believe that I have no problem sending some folks out of my life. Hey, honey, just want to let you know that person that you're connected to, they got issues. No problem. I'm working on that. I'm working on that. Just want to let you know that I know something about her or I know something about him. Let me tell you. And they tell you, you say, oh, thank you very much for the heads up. I'm working on that. Hallelujah and praise the Lord. God is going to show you where the enemy is at work if you just hang in there just long enough to learn some lessons though. Because see, some of us want to jump up out of situations and disconnect from some people and get away from some things. But God said you still got a lesson to be learned in this situation. So learn it and then I will free you up out of it. Okay? Put your time in. And then maybe you'll appreciate your freedom when you get it instead of talking about how lonely you are and how you need someone and how you're used to this and you're used to that. And then when the Lord gives it to you, then you get an attitude. You get an attitude because guess what? You weren't ready for it. You weren't ready for it. Well, I really liked my freedom. Yeah, but then you turned around and then God gives you what you wanted, right? The desires of your heart. And then you turn around and say you don't want it. And then you ended up getting it prematurely, right? Because you just didn't want to spend time with the Lord. The Lord said, okay, you don't want to spend time with me. Okay, well then spend time with him then. And I know this sort of thing is happening to someone right now as we speak. This individual keeps after this one and that one. I want to be with this one. I want to be with that one. Never allowing self, right, to have some peace, to have some time alone, to get over some family stuff. Matter of fact, to get gone away from family for a while. The very ones that keep this person going, that keep this person running. There's some root issues going on with the family. But nope. Don't want to spend no time self-evaluating. So after a while, we get tired of telling people stuff. Okay? Please do take a look at this particular website, Emotional Abuse. Lots of good stuff. EQI.org. Okay? Lots of good stuff on this website. They get into some parental alienation, some verbal abuse, some emotionally abusive mothers and fathers and parents, some emotionally abusive schools even. Okay. So definitely give them a look. I don't get anything for recommending this site. It's just that I want to give you guys some resources to help you understand more about abuse. Okay. And why God wants us to be free out of this stuff. So I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. Also, if you haven't subscribed to YouTube NM Enterprise 7, please do. And if you haven't given, we welcome donations. Thank you, and to God be the glory.